You've been lied to about Roman soldiers. People say they were invincible, unstoppable, marching across continents like iron gods. That's the sanitized version. Neat rows, shining armor, noble causes. The truth? Rome didn't create heroes, it created killers, and it did it on purpose. Picture this: a farmer, barefoot, mud still drying on his calloused feet. He stands in the blinding sun of a dusty Roman field, the year 168 BCE. His name isn't important. Names don't survive the first week. What matters is his chest, the scars on his hands, and whether he flinches when a centurion bellows an order an inch from his face. Every spring, Roman magistrates toured the countryside, like wolves hunting for the hardest bodies. City boys softened by marble baths, rejected. Ploughmen bent by years of labor, drafted on the spot. Polybius, a Greek historian dragged to Rome as a hostage, recorded it with chilling detachment. Men, weighed, measured, inspected like livestock. Fit, taken. Weak, discarded. From the moment they entered camp, the training began to kill the man and build the legionary. 20 Roman miles in 5 hours, 60 pounds on your back. Do it twice a week, every week. Collapse once, just once, and you're finished. Wooden swords, heavier than real steel, so the real thing feels merciful when you finally touch it. Shields slammed into position until your arms ache, until thought is replaced by instinct, and here's where Rome turns training into terror. Cowardice wasn't punished with exile. It was punished with fustuarium, beaten to death by your own comrades, not in secret. In the center of camp, loud enough for everyone to hear the bones crack. Rome didn't punish fear, they exterminated it, and this is why Roman discipline worked. Your survival depended on the man beside you, so panic was a crime. No one dared break formation, and when they did, the example was unforgettable. Enemies like Celtic warbands fought bravely but chaotically, screaming themselves hoarse. Macedonian phalanxes formed perfect walls of 16-foot spears, terrifying but rigid. Rome learned from every one of them. Every defeat became a manual, every enemy a teacher. That was Rome's real genius, relentless adaptation. Now, listen to camp at dusk. Shields strike in rhythm. Dust rises with every synchronized step. The air reeks of sweat, iron, and unwashed wool. By the time training ends, these men aren't farmers anymore. They're parts of something colder, something methodical. But discipline alone doesn't win wars. It only prepares you for the next horror, and what comes next makes training look merciful. The battlefield, where silence kills louder than screams. Now picture the field. Dust rises in the summer heat of 168 BCE at Pydna in modern northern Greece. The ground trembles as the Macedonian phalanx advances, a glittering wall of 16-foot pikes bristling like a monstrous iron porcupine. To anyone watching, it looks unbeatable. To the tribes and kingdoms Rome faced, it often was. But not to the silent formation opposite them, shields raised in perfect rhythm. No war cries, no chaos, just waiting. The horns sound, the phalanx pushes forward, its forest of spears forcing the Romans back. But here's the trick, the retreat isn't panic, it's bait. Every Roman drilled to move on command, to splinter and reform faster than the enemy can blink. The uneven ground breaks the phalanx's perfect line. In an instant, Roman soldiers slip through the gaps, gladius stabbing upward into unarmored bellies, shield smashing faces. Silence turns to slaughter. This was the heart of Roman battlefield genius. The triplex acies. 3 lines of troops, hastati at the front, young and eager, principes behind, hardened killers, triarii in reserve, veterans whose very name became shorthand for desperation. It's come to the triarii, Romans would say, meaning the fight had reached its last hope. Each line could fall back through the next, fighting in layers rather than one brittle wall. Enemies couldn't comprehend it. Celtic warbands fought in chaotic charges, Macedonian phalanxes were terrifying but rigid, Parthian cavalry excelled at ranged combat but shattered up close. Rome studied them all, turning losses into doctrine. You weren't supposed to hear this, but Rome's real genius wasn't invention. It was adaptation. Trumpets blare, shields lock, dust blinds. The gladius isn't swung, it stabs. 3 inches of steel into soft flesh, over and over, efficient as a carpenter driving nails. The silence is worse than the screams. Imagine facing an army that kills without frenzy, only precision. And yet, tactics alone can't win wars forever. Rome is about to unveil something even darker, weapons and siegecraft that break not just armies, but entire cities. Fast forward to 52 BCE, Alesia, in what is now France. The Gallic leader Vercingetorix stands on high wooden walls, staring down at an ocean of Roman tents. He expects a siege. He doesn't expect this. The Romans don't build one wall. They build 2. An inner wall to trap the defenders, an outer wall to face the reinforcements. A double noose, tightening every day. The Gauls watch in horror as trenches deepen, spikes rise from the ground, ditches fill with water, all while catapults groan and towers climb higher than their own walls. The sound is relentless, hammers pounding, saws whining, distant screams from anyone caught outside the lines. Rome's weapons were no less terrifying. The gladius hispaniensis, short and designed for stabbing, slipped cleanly between ribs. The pilum, a heavy javelin with a soft iron neck, bent on impact, clever enough to render enemy shields useless. And behind the lines, siege engines, ballistae hurling bolts the size of spears, onagers launching stones that crumpled men and masonry alike. Picture the sound: a deep creak, a sharp crack, then silence where a wall used to be. Here's the part most people miss: Rome weaponized inevitability. They didn't need to storm every gate or kill every man. They starved you, cut your water, and burned your fields. At Alesia, Caesar's men built miles of fortifications in weeks, a perfect ring of death. When Gaulish reinforcements finally arrived, they slammed against the outer wall while the trapped defenders hurled themselves at the inner. 2 battles at once, and somehow Rome held. Think about that. You're fighting both ways, starving inside and besieged outside. Hope dies before your body does. That's the point. But even this brilliance relied on something less visible, the quiet miracle behind every victory. Roads, supply lines, and camps so efficient they might as well have been magic. Without them, the walls at Alesia wouldn't stand a week. And that's where the story turns eerily quiet, into the invisible war Rome fought better than anyone else. Picture Italy on fire. The year is 218 BCE. Hannibal Barca, Carthage's greatest general, has just marched war elephants over the Alps, a feat so insane no Roman had planned for it. He descends into the Po Valley, modern northern Italy, and begins dismantling Roman armies one after another. Trebia, Trasimene, Cannae. For 15 years, Hannibal roams the Italian countryside, undefeated, burning farms and camping within sight of Rome itself. Any other empire would have collapsed. Rome didn't. Why? Because Rome's true weapon was invisible. The Via Appia, built in 312 BCE, wasn't just a road. It was an artery, straight as an arrow, layered in stone, designed to carry legions and supplies across Italy faster than anyone thought possible. Roman roads cut through hills, bridged rivers, ignored nature itself. Some still exist today, 2,000 years later, stones worn smooth by sandals long turned to dust. Every night, wherever they camped, the legions built fortresses. Not tents, fortresses. Identical layouts, ditches, palisades, gates, so every man knew exactly where to stand if attacked before dawn. Enemies woke to chaos. Romans woke to formation. Behind all of this ran supply chains so efficient they bordered on modern. Grain requisitioned from allies. Naval convoys feeding armies across the Mediterranean. Field ovens baking bread in the middle of campaigns. Hannibal could win battles, but he couldn't replace men or feed them forever. Rome could. You weren't supposed to hear this. But Rome's greatest strength wasn't bravery. It was systems. Roads as veins, camps as organs, discipline as heartbeat. Their enemies faced soldiers. In reality, they faced an entire civilization marching in unison. And here's the hook. When those systems faltered centuries later, the empire crumbled. The silence on the roads was louder than any battle cry. So what was Rome's secret? Not courage, not luck. A system. A rhythm hammered into men until it replaced their heartbeat. Roads that outlived kingdoms, camps that rose and fell like clockwork. An empire built on discipline so relentless it felt eternal. But stand on one of those roads today. The same stone a farmer's bare feet once touched on the day he was taken from his plow. Listen. You can almost hear it. Shields striking in rhythm, boots pounding in silence, the hum of an army that forgot what it meant to stop marching. Rome didn't just conquer with steel. It conquered with inevitability. And when that discipline faltered, when the roads cracked and the heartbeat slowed, the empire dissolved into the silence it once wielded as a weapon. The question is, do we still march under that ghostly eagle, or have we just changed the uniform? Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and click the video on the screen for more of history's darkest secrets.